Hey, this is the Hawk. I'm at the Trump rally in Palm Beach, Florida, and I am trying to interview people for the Trump rally, and just trying to see what people's opinion about what's going on. Yeah, I'm here with Christian Acosta. He's doing for Florida District 21, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, so let me turn this on to Christian and let him explain his opinion about what's going on in his district and what he thinks about Trump and Mattis and all this other stuff that's going on that all of us are upset about.
Yeah,
Here we
absolutely.
go.
I'm running in District 21, so that's in the south of Palm Beach County. It's Boynton Beach, Delray Beach, Boca Raton, parts of West Palm, Wellington. It's a big district. And we have had not as much of violence and rioting. We've had some protests, and when they were peaceful, but we had a little bit of looting and damage. But what we also had was a mayor who decided that he was going to use that opportunity to ban gun sales in West Palm Beach. You know, they always try and do this, and I'm thinking to myself, A, that's wrong, but B, what's even the excuse? Like, the looters already clearly have weapons and already robbed stuff, and now a good, honest citizen can't actually do anything about it. So that's the type of fighting that we have here in our district, and I would fight against that. I'm not in favor of infringement on the Second Amendment. I certainly don't want us to just have streets with violence and damage. We need to make sure that we are understanding of proper police practice, right? What they did in Minneapolis is not proper, but that doesn't mean every police officer around the country needs to be treated as if he was the one doing that to George Floyd. So we have to have balance, and I don't see, some of our elected representatives doing that. All they're doing is fanning the flames, and that's not the right thing to do. So we're going to try and fight against that and bring a little bit of common sense back to our district, because that's really what we need.
I appreciate the interview.
No problem. You had another question about Mattis, right?
Yes, I have a question. What is your opinion on General Mattis' attitude right now?
It's tough. How's it going? It's tough because I really respect General Mattis and everybody who served. My father was in 25 years in the Air Force, retired as a major. And Mattis did do good service, and I could see that he was a real field guy. But I don't know why he's getting all political. Like, I understand what he's saying, but clearly we don't have, tanks rolling in the streets to go and take over the United States of America. That's just not happening. That's exaggeration. He knows it. So why is he saying these things? Somebody inspired him to be political. I don't agree with it. He should keep his mouth shut. I don't mean that as disrespect. Military people are not supposed to go out and talk as if they're public servants. They are in the military. It's very specific. If my father as a major had gone out and given his opinion, he would be immediately pulled off duty and maybe court-martialed. Obviously, Mattis is not in that category, but, come on. I don't think it's proper. I don't think it's right.
Do you think it's his fear of the Democrats trying to incriminate him again?
I don't know. I mean, what they did to Flynn was really wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's afraid of anything. I think he generally was upset, and I think he was inflamed by a lot of people telling him the same opinion. Because imagine if you go to D.C., everybody has one opinion, and it's a Democratic opinion, right? But, he knows that the United States is not being taken over by the military, whatever it was he was insinuating. He knows that nothing unconstitutional is happening, because if it did, it would be immediately injuncted by 30,000 lawsuits. We know how this works.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is, why are you saying these things? Just take a step back. You're supposed to be a calm leader who goes and gets things done. Right now, you're not in the leadership position. Respect the chain of command. That's the bottom line. That's the core of the military. He's a military man, a very good one. I don't think he should be speaking out like that, because he knows that what Trump is doing is he's trying his best to bring back some semblance of protection to people who are getting their small businesses burned, their cars destroyed. That's not okay, right? We're not sending tanks to run over protesters. We're trying to defend against violence with small businesses.
So I have one more thing for you. With regards to the police, they are asking for change, but burning down buildings, asking for the police department to be dismantled, looting, there's no solution. There's just violence. And I'm okay. If there's supposed to be police reform, surely there must be some other solution to this other than violence, because nobody's actually bringing forth a solution. Everybody is reacting.
Well, that's the point.
Right. And the problem is, yes, I agree. I am under the opinion that, or under the belief that other international police go through longer training and less violent interactions, and there must be a way to be less violent arrests, probably. there must
definitely
be
things we can
different
do.
systems to
Yeah.
do that instead of what we saw.
And I don't know whether it's popular or not, or radical or not. I don't think it is. Racism happens everywhere. It is a national problem, but it's not a problem that happens because of national level things. Nobody is saying in their home, oh, well, Washington, D.C. just did this, so I'm going to go out and stomp on a guy's throat. That's not how it works. Racism is a local thing that happens to happen everywhere. When you go and you see a police department where a gentleman has had many, many citations in the past, and he's stepping on a person's neck, that's not a police technique. It's not trained or taught anywhere. That guy should have been disciplined long before George Floyd ever died. And the point is, why wasn't he? So the question is, what is happening in the police department? What's happening in internal affairs? What are they doing if an officer has evidence of using excessive force? This should never have gotten to this point. Going back and saying, well, you know, a guy with 18 citations in 19 years, well, he only did this because of Trump. Come on, like, that's bull, and you know it. So the point is, these things aren't going to be solved because somebody like Joe Biden tells you he's going to go to Washington and sign a law. A law is not going to get rid of racism. If that were true, we would have done it 50 years ago, right?
Yes.
So the point is, we have to look individually, and I know it's not sexy or exciting or great, but you go to every single time there's a violation and you try and fix that. You can't fix someone's bias. You're not going to diversity train them to suddenly not be a bigot. But what you can do is make sure that they're not in a position applying a technique or action that causes harm. So we go and we find out, why wasn't this person disciplined and taken off the street before? And I mean the officer, if he had a history of excessive force. I bring up an example in New York City. If you remember years ago, a guy was using a chokehold on a man, a black man, and
Yes.
that black man died.
Yes.
They went back and they took that chokehold out of the police training books, and it doesn't exist anywhere in the country anymore. There should not be a single person who dies because of a rear chokehold used by a police officer. And if the police officer does use that technique, then guess what? There's no question about whether they were wrong. In court, they're going to be found guilty because that technique's not authorized. So it's small victories, but you do this one and one and one. But we actually have to learn. If the idea is, well, something happened in Minneapolis, let's go blame Trump, you're not going to fix anything. You may make yourself feel better, but you literally won't fix anything. So you have to go after things that are excesses where they are and then try and learn from them, and we just keep going. It's a long process. You're never going to get rid of bias based on skin color. Like, it's the oldest thing in human history.
Yes.
What we have to do is make sure that people who exhibit bias are not allowed to apply force or power to the public. That's what we have to protect against, and we can do that, but it takes introspection and it takes some guts. You know, notice everybody in Minneapolis in the power structure there is now trying to see who they can point fingers at. Well, that's not going to fix anything. So that's how we do it.
Yes.
Is it easy? No.
No.
But it certainly isn't going to be fixed by electing Joe Biden. Give me a break, right? Come on. That was a bit long.
So I have one more question for you.
Sure.
And given the fact that every time there's an issue in the United States, they bring up a race issue. And it's always either an African American, a white, Mexican, Latino,
Right.
Chinese, whatever. When this is a multicultural country, surely we should state we are Americans and not colors.
I mean, this one's tough. When nowadays you can't even say we're all Americans without somebody getting offended. But that's because of political inculcation. We understand that we're all Americans because America is not an ethnicity or a culture. That's the truth. That's what makes this country great. When you go to France, French is a culture. It is an ethnicity. It is a background. I'm not saying you can't be French if you aren't French culture, but the point is it's true there. It's not true in America. There's no such thing as an American culture. Even the first settlers that came over weren't from the same parts of Europe. And very shortly after the first settlers, we got, unfortunately, slavery started as well. So we've never been a mono-ethnic country. So you shouldn't be offended when someone says we're all Americans first. It's supposed to bring people together. But nowadays, the thing is, race can be used as a very good way to divide. When someone is telling you about race, and the end goal of them talking about race is to get you to vote for somebody, I apologize, but that person doesn't really care about integration or bringing people together. If they're talking about race and they're trying to get, a different education program, or they're trying to do like a community event, no problem, I get it. We have to talk about race in order to be able to combat bigotry. But if they talk about race and the next thing they say is vote Democrat, they don't give a damn about helping. That's the truth. So that's really the problem. We need to get politics out of it, and we need to start doing it at a local level, at a church level, at a community level, because we do need to come together. We do need to talk about race because there are disparate amounts of high school dropout
Yes.
rate, economic achievement, this type of stuff. We have to fix it. But it's not going to be fixed by Joe Biden in Washington, D.C. Sorry. Truth.
It's true.
Deal with it.
Thank you very much for the interview. I
Thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much for the opportunity. Take care.
Thank you.
My good side.
Yes.
I should turn around. Wait a second.
There we go. There we go. There we go.
All right. Yeah. Anyway, so let's get serious because it's a serious deal.
Yes, it is.
Joe Biden is a joke. He's nothing but a opportunist. He didn't do anything for 8 years, and he hasn't done anything for 40 years. As a senator. Donald Trump has just taken all of the barriers away that were blocking in the people doing the right jobs, taking things away and giving Americans jobs, taking the jobs back from overseas. Obama, Biden sent that way and brought back over here, and he's doing a great job, and he's getting hit every single day for everything. You've got one channel on TV, Fox, that gives him a fair shake. Everybody else is stabbing him in the back.
Yeah, exactly.
A2 Brute, that's what they mean. I'd give you the finger, but you know which one I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Okay?
It's like CNN, communist news network.
It's terrible. These lefties, they're disgraceful. That you see something happening now in the country, and you've got a lot of people that are all of a sudden they're victims. What happened with Floyd was a bad thing, and God, not the people, but God will do the punishment for them. Okay.
What's your opinion on the solutions for change in police brutality? It's pointless burning down buildings. There's no solutions.
You're never going to get anything by burning down buildings, except shot in the head. As far as I'm concerned, you start looting, we start shooting. I don't give a damn if that's racist, that's not racist. Oh, you're racist. That's the word. Call me racist. I'm winning the damn race, okay? And my race is to get to Jesus Christ. I don't give a damn about these politicians, okay? Trump is our president. You don't want to show respect, then keep your mouth shut.
What do you think of Mattis, this issue with Mattis? Because he basically saved Mattis's ass and he turned it around on him.
Well, Mattis got spanked by, they took away his little army toys. You can't go here. They want to fight in endless wars.
Yes.
I'm not having my brother, my children fight for things that don't matter to America. To be perfectly honest with you, he's pulling out of Germany now. Finally, after all those years, he's making it's just the things that he's doing is going against, and it's irking people like Mattis and the military crowd.
Yep. Well, I appreciate the interview. Thanks very much.
That's it. I got a lot to say and little time to say it.
There we go.
All right,
Thank
then.
you. I'm about to interview Reba from District 21 in Palm Beach. And we're going to talk about a lot of these issues that are going on in the United States right now. How you doing, Reba?
I'm terrific, thank you.
Can you tell me what you think about the situation right now with regards to the Floyd case, where the policeman, the police brutality, and what do you think for solutions to this kind of thing? And do you also believe that what is happening is a solution to the problem when violence and looting is not?
Well, I tell you, I actually arrived in Manhattan a week ago Thursday, the first night of rioting, and riots were continuing on until I left yesterday, so it's 11 days. I was in D.C. and Manhattan, and what I saw was the people who were peaceably protesting. That was fine, but then you had these people that were like with Antifa and Black Lives Matter who were coming in, and they were causing violence and really taxing the police departments in Manhattan and in DC to the limit. I talked to police officers who were working 32 plus hours straight without a break. And violence is and rioting is not a solution. It's harming more innocent people, and more people have lost their lives over the past 2
Right,
weeks.
exactly.
Granted, what happened with Floyd is not okay, and we really need to discipline and prosecute individuals who do perpetrate brutality and violate people's constitutional rights. But riots are not the answer. We need to talk about solutions, and we need to work in a judicious manner to correct these problems.
What is your opinion on General Mattis's attack on President Trump, when President Trump just got him exonerated from all these charges that were in the case? And do you feel that's unfair?
Well, I tell him of himself. I'm really disappointed in him, but truly not surprised. There are many people that claim to be pro-President Trump who are simply, opposition, and they're hidden in plain sight. They're really rhinos, Republican in name only, or supporters in name only. They're really anti-Trumpers. And it's disappointing, but it's the reality of the times we're in today. And we have to use our vetting process to check out every single candidate up and down the ballot, because there's people that are trying to infiltrate and continue with this deep state swamp in DC and locally. And we need to get true patriots in office who will stand up to this corruption and fraud.
What do you think of Romney?
Oh, Romney needs to go home.
Yes, I agree totally. I'm from Utah.
There's a lot of people, even here in Florida, who are in office that are funded by George Soros. Marco Rubio being one of them.
That's unbelievable.
Marco Rubio needs to get on a one-way ticket in 2 years and never go back to the Senate.
Wow. Do you think that Soros needs to be brought up on any kind of charges? Is it because according to some sources, any person that died in these riots, he should be responsible for funding them?
I agree. He's committed many crimes against humanity.
Yes.
He honestly has earned the death penalty. He has committed treason against our country, trying to destroy our government and our nation, and he needs to pay the ultimate price of execution.
Well, I appreciate the interview. Thank you very much. Hey, I'm back again with Elizabeth Felton, right? And District 21. And we're going to talk about the same situation in the United States and what their thoughts on all this police brutality, violence, and what are the solutions. How you doing?
Hi, again, I'm Elizabeth Felton. I'm a United States congressional candidate for CD21 in Florida, running against Lois Frankel. In terms of the police violence, it's actually a very small percentage of police officers in my district. I have had a lot of dealings with the police in Palm Beach County, and most of them are good. Most of the dealings have been good. We volunteer with my business. We volunteer for their children's party that they host every year. The real problem we have with the police is the union contracts. What happens is this. If you have a police officer who is not following the law or not doing good, and a good police officer tries to intervene, he now has to worry, or she has to worry, that when calling for backup, they're not going to get backup. It makes it very difficult for somebody who's doing the right thing to report somebody who's doing the wrong thing. What we really need to focus on is two things. So we need to renegotiate the union contracts in such a way that they're favorable to remove bad actors, and we also need more enhanced training. So I don't think we have a wide issue with racism, I think we might have some bias that if you grow up in an all-white neighborhood or you grow up in an all-black neighborhood, you might have a little bias because you have no frame of reference. That's not malice, that's not racism, that's a whole different ball game, but that bias can still be dangerous. So what we should be doing is training using simulators and a variety of, with the perpetrator, a variety of clothing, variety of color skin and ethnicity and gender, so that it becomes muscle memory to react to the behavior and not to anything else we might have a preconceived notion for. I personally think our president has done an outstanding job in unprecedented circumstances. I mean, we have had, a hoax impeachment that was a 3-ring circus, and he made it through that. So then we have a global pandemic. Then it's murder hornets. Now it's riots. And every step of the way, this man has handled every instance beautifully.
Beautifully, yes. Well, I appreciate the interview. Thank you very much. And wish you well in the next election.
Elizabeth Felton, CD21.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Alan Huber, another great citizen of the United States is titled What's Going On. How you doing, Alan?
Absolutely wonderful tonight. It's a beautiful night.
Beautiful
Things
night.
are quiet.
Yes. What is your take on what's happened with this Floyd case and the results of?
I'm heartbroken because this was an opportunity for the country to come together. For the first time, and I study these cases, I study these police interactions, police shootings, things like that. Nobody defended the police officer. No Republican, no Democrat, the police union, everybody in America was unified. This cop was wrong, he committed murder, he should go to jail and rot there. Instead of taking that unity and creating a unity message where 100 million citizens, they could have gotten the president, the Speaker of the House, every governor, every mayor in America to come out together as one and solve whatever the problems are. They started looting, rioting, and everyone went back into their corners, into the same old stereotypes that we've always had. And it's the most wasted opportunity. And it's a shame. And the people that are hurt the most are going to be the people in the black community because they burnt their own communities down. And a lot of it was agitated by people with agendas on the BLM and Antifa side.
Yes. And what do you think of this? These people going up against Trump, like Mattis and
it's a distraction.
It's a distraction.
Trump does not. Every one of these people have one thing in common: they are bureaucrats. Donald Trump is a businessman, an entrepreneur that does things differently. For example, when people want to understand what did Trump do to solve the ventilator problem in the United States, you know what the answer is? Do you even know what the problem was? You have the governor of New York asking for 40,000 ventilators. Now, he's a bureaucrat. They told him he needed ventilators or people will die. Being a bureaucrat, you know if you need 40,000 ventilators, or 10,000 ventilators, I'm sorry, if you need 10,000, you ask for 40,000, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now if the governor of New York needs 40,000 ventilators, then the governor of California needs 40,000 ventilators, which means the governor of Illinois needs 40,000 ventilators because they need to get a few thousand just to have some. And Trump saw this ridiculous bureaucratic stupidity, of the governors bidding against each other, and you have this with foreign countries.
Yes.
Brazil and other countries bought ventilators from China. They all paid for them, and only one country got them. South Africa may have been one of those countries that bid.
Yeah.
So Trump said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm controlling the national stockpile. I will have the military fly ventilators all over the country. If Florida doesn't need any ventilators and New York does, we're going to take the ventilators from Florida and get up to New York. But I guarantee you, in 24 hours, if Florida needs ventilators, I will get the ventilators back to Florida. He created a distribution center, pretty much like Walmart. And all he did was said, we're going to make sure that people have what they need, because you see, if New York needs 40,000 and this one needs 40, that means you need 10 million ventilators. You can't create 10 million ventilators in 4 weeks.
No.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
But they're all trying to build ventilators, and Trump is going, we don't need 10 million. We need a certain amount, and we need the ability to distribute them quickly, rapidly, and efficiently. That's what Donald Trump did. And nobody understands that, because in Washington, bureaucrats, okay, what did we do today? We had a meeting. And what was the result? Oh, it was a great meeting. And we're going to have another meeting. Donald Trump says if you had a meeting and nothing happened in that meeting, we didn't close the deal, it was a bad meeting. And Washington's not used to that. And that's really the problem when you hear that. And by the way, George Bush said that was a lie, the story. He never said anything about who he was going to vote for. But that's part of what goes on. He does not need the establishment as his friends. He needs the voters, and that's what this Trump club here is.
Yeah.
It's the voters. They may be Democrat, they may be Republican. They're Trump supporters. They love America, and they don't care about what a General Mattis says. They don't care about what LeBron James says. They don't care about what anybody says. They can think for themselves, and that's what we have going on right now.
Yeah. And do you think the Mattis case is because of the military complex? He's trying to shut it down, pull the troops out of Germany, pull the troops out of, bring them all home.
You know, the thing with Trump is, and again, these people don't understand how he plays. How did Trump stop the riots in the United States?
Bring out the military.
No.
Oh, he stuck
He
it on
threatened to bring out the
the...
military.
yeah.
Okay? By threatening to bring out the military, everybody, Donald Trump is a dictator. He didn't put the military anywhere. He did not activate the military at all. He threatened to do it. This is how Donald Trump negotiates. As president, he has the tools to negotiate with. These people don't understand that that's what he does. They take his word and they yell about what he's going to do, and he's negotiating. He's always and he negotiates long game. And there's nobody in the world that negotiates as good as Donald Trump. I mean, look, he said, I'm going to get all the NATO countries to pay more money.
Yep, and they did.
They all did. Okay, and how did he do that? I'm pulling out of NATO.
There we go.
And of course, he's reckless, he's dangerous, he's that, he's this. He accomplished his goals.
Same with the trade deals.
That's how he plays. Donald Trump knows how to play the game. They don't. And the voters, the people that read that, not the voters, the reporters, they don't get him.
They don't, no.
They don't understand how he operates.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and then they'll start a riot someplace or a protest in a country, and they'll say, people hate the United States. They don't know. Everything, if you're in South Africa, everything you know about U.S. politics, you've learned from CNN and BBC.
Yep.
Which is exactly watching the same thing.
Exactly.
So when I talk to people from overseas, I ask them questions. They go, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Of course you didn't know that. You know, we had the Mueller investigation. A year before the Mueller report came out, there was an indictment against the Russian troll farm. That indictment said that no Americans were involved and not one vote was changed. So we knew about it a year earlier than everybody else because we didn't listen to the news report.
Yeah.
We actually read the indictment. So that's what's different. Now, but if you're in South Africa, if you're in Germany, if you are in France and England, wherever, you only know that the 3 minutes they tell you.
Yep.
And so then, and therefore your opinion, like hydrochloroquine. Okay, you're familiar with what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we took it in Afghanistan and Iraq.
My wife is a Brazilian physician who ran a hospital in the Amazon region. Therefore, she's an expert in hydrochloroquine. In the Amazon, hydrochloroquine is put in the salt because you have to have it. Babies have to have it. Everybody has to have hydrochloroquine. So over 60 years, we know hydrochloroquine has no ill effects. Now, you might be allergic to strawberries. That doesn't make hydrochloroquine dangerous. It just means you might not be able to take it.
Yes.
Right? That's just
How it
reasonable
is,
thinking. Turkey has 80 million people, 4,000 deaths. Why? First symptom, hydrochloroquine. In America, it became political. Republicans, 60% said they would take hydrochloroquine, Democrats only 30%. And then they want to know why the black population has such a high mortality rate. Well, if you're not going to take a drug because the politician, the news reports tell you not to, I think vitamin D, which you get from the sun and stuff, blacks normally have a deficiency in it. That's just science. I think there was one other thing, and I can't get right now, explains without racism a differential, okay, in things. But a big part of it was taking hydrochloroquine. And then we had the debates here. The World Health Organization pulled the study. The Lancet ran this study, and we said, just wait a couple of weeks. They're going to retract it.
Oh, yeah.
It was politics.
It was all politics.
But if you're watching BBC or CNN, Donald Trump talks about hydrochloroquine and people are dying. You believe it because that's what BBC. We said that we know what's going to happen.
The head of you was Ethiopian terrorist.
We know what's going to happen. And then we have, there's great hope for this drug that costs $1,000 a pop. Well, Americans, the Trump supporters, we learned how the game plays. Okay, we follow the money. Okay, they're trying to sell the $1,000 drug. Hydrochloroquine's a $20 drug. They're not going to like it.
Yeah. But I appreciate the interview.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. There you have it, folks. Talking to hundreds of people out there, I found that many of them were sympathetic with the Floyd family, but they disagreed with the violence and the police brutality, and all want reform. But violence, looting, it was uncalled for. Peaceful protests is far better. As you know, I don't normally get into US politics. I spoke at length to many people about the situation in South Africa and the fact that the US taxpayer is sending billions of dollars to foreign aid to South Africa and many other countries, and it's been squandered by these politicians, especially COVID-19 funds that landed up going to Lamborghinis and 911 Porsches that should never have happened. We as South Africans, we as Americans, should not allow this to happen. We should stop aiding and abetting criminals. In my own opinion, the Minnesota Council disbanding the police is just a recipe for disaster. You're basically emboldening criminals. You had one policeman, assisted by 3 others, kill a man. Your issue is not with the police department, but the bad eggs that are in the police department. We must come together as a nation of Americans with an issue and resolve the issue, not as colors, which just divide us, which makes no sense. You meet people every day. We cannot be walking around every day scared of one another because of the color of our skin. We are far better people than that. This is the Hawk. I'm out of here. Please subscribe to my channel. Please like and share. And watch the video, the end piece. And if you're watching this video, remember in South Africa, one farmer is killed a week. And when I mean a farmer, his entire family is either brutally murdered, tortured, raped. One female from any age, from an infant to a grandmother, is raped every minute. 60 people will die today in South Africa from murder. These stats are not mine. These are UN stats from 2012. Something has to be done in South Africa. The ANC government, the communist government of South Africa, is not a friend of the United States and is assisting Iran, ISIS, Hamas, and Al-Qaeda. We need your help to place sanctions on the South African government. There's a link that I'll put in my description. Please sign the petition and help me change the situation in South Africa and stop the murders, rapes, tortures, and the absolute and utter corruption that's going on there, to the detriment of all the people of South Africa. It has to stop. Thank you. This is the Hawk. I'm out of here. Take care. Please subscribe, share, and like.
So tell me what's going on, boy.
So this is the 911 992 Carrera 2020. Leya during the week.
Yeah.
Lena. The Porsche Panamera GTS 2020.
Yes, my boy.
Leya bantwana le.
No one else. No one
Sports
else.
tourism. Yabona le
Yeah.
sports tourism.
No one else. No one else.
Yabona njani la
Yeah.
iTV.
Yeah.
Lena yiyo le.
Yeah.
Leya bantwana.
Yeah. No one else. No other passengers.
Leya olady le. Leya sindlule kuyo. Leya abantu abadala le. Leya abantu abadala mari donsa abaningi. Bese lena.
Yeah.
Ale time le.
Timer.
Yeah, bese leyo mfazi le.
Yeah.
Lena uthi umfazi nje ayithenga izinkwa kunothi vele akusumuntu okumele asebenze
Yeah,
uthenga
yeah.
izinkwa
Nothing else.
nothing else then ungavela uyithi ngaphambili.
Thank you, Baba Ndlovu. He brought the dealership home.
Yeah, I know. I Klaveka so. Arke fitting mun. Yeah, go kicking.
Please note, that's US taxpayer money that's just buying those cars. That money was supposed to go for COVID-19 assistance in the pandemic in South Africa. They bought Jeeps, 911s, Lamborghinis, and they're laughing about it. And we as American citizens need to stop this. Please sign my petition for sanctions on the South African government and the corruption, murder, and rape of their citizens. And this needs to stop. I need your assistance. Thank you. This is the Hawk. Please subscribe to my channel. Please share and like. Thank you. I'm out of here.